Hare Krishna, this is Linda.
Hare Krishna, this is Advaita Chandra Das. Dhanvat Pranam, Jai Srila Prabhupada, Srila Gurudev.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dhanvat Pranam, Jai Srila Prabhupada. Thank you so much for joining Prabhuji. Hare Krishna Mataji, Dhanvat Pranam, all glories to Srila Prabhupada, all glories to Guru Maharaj, and all glories to the assembled devotees. This is Tiffany in Pennsylvania. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna Mataji, Dhanvat Pranam, all glories to Srila Prabhupada and Gurudev. Thank you so much for joining. Hare Krishna Mataji, this is Param Dev Ki Rasi from Gurgaon. Guru Maharaj ki jai, Prabhupada ki jai. Hare Krishna Mataji, Dhanvat Pranam, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Thank you so much for joining. Hare Krishna Mataji, please access my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada and Guru Maharaj. This is Radhika from Bangalore. Hare Krishna Mataji, Hare Krishna, all glories to Srila Prabhupada.
Hare Krishna Mataji, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada and Guru Maharaj. This is Sakti Radha Devdasi. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Sati Radha Mataji, Dhanvat Pranam, all glories to Srila Prabhupada and Gurudev. Thank you so much for joining. Can we please start recording? The recording has started. Welcome to Bhakti Sangat Japa Conference Call. Today we are very fortunate to have this great ability Prabhuji to enlighten us on Srimad Bhagavatam. So thank you so much Prabhuji for giving your valuable institution in time. Now I would like to hand over the call to you Prabhuji. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. So today we are reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 4, Chapter 24, in the matter of the song of Lord Shiva, and text 45 to 46. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Narayanam Namaskrityam Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tatiraye Nashtaprayeshu Abhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Ruttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtiki Krishnaya Vasudevaya Devaki Nandanaya Cha Nandopakumaraya Govindaya Namo Namaha. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Ram Ram Hare Hare. Snigdha pravridghanashyamam sarvasam padmakosha palashaksham Sundarabhrusunasikam Sudvijam Sukapolasyam. The Lord's beauty resembles a dark cloud during the rainy season. As the rainfall glistens, his bodily features also glisten. Indeed, he is the sum total of all beauty. The Lord has 4 arms and an exquisitely beautiful face, eyes like lotus petals, a beautiful, highly raised nose, a mind attracting smile, and a beautiful forehead, and equally beautiful and fully decorated ears. So, this has a long purport by Srila Prabhupada, and we're very fortunate to have to read such long purport. But what I'll do is, while reading the purport, I will give some of the little realizations from what we get based on Srila Prabhupada's purport. So I'll maybe read a paragraph or two, and then we can discuss on details of those paragraphs. Then we'll go to the next paragraph and then discuss realizations from that paragraph. All right. So Om Ajnanatimidandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namah. Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Prishthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Iti Namine. Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine. Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shrivas Adi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. Purport by His Divine Grace Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. After the scorching heat of the summer season, it is very pleasing to see dark clouds in the sky, as confirmed in Brahma Samhita. Barhavandarangam. The Lord wears a peacock feather in his hair, and his bodily complexion is just like a blackish. The word Sundara or Snigdha means very. Kandarpakoti Kamaniya. Krishna's beauty is so pleasing that not even millions upon millions of cupids can compare to it. The Lord's form as Vishnu is decorated in all opulence. Therefore, Lord Shiva is trying to see that most opulent form of Narayan or Vishnu. Generally, the worship of the Lord begins with the worship of Narayan or Vishnu, whereas the worship of Lord Krishna and Radha is most confidential. Lord Narayan is worshipable by the Pancharatrika Vidhi or regulative principles, whereas Lord Krishna is worshipable by the Bhagavat Vidhi. No one can worship the Lord in Bhagavat Vidhi without going through the regulations of the Pancharatrika Vidhi. Actually, neophyte devotees worship the Lord according to the Pancharatrika Vidhi or the regulative principles enjoined in the Narada Pancharatra. Radha Krishna cannot be approached by the neophyte devotees. Therefore, temple worship according to regulative principles is offered to Lakshmi Narayan. Although there may be a Radha Krishna Vigraha or form, the worship of the neophyte devotees is acceptable as Lakshmi Narayan worship. Worship according to the Pancharatrika Vidhi is called Vidhi Marga, and worship according to Bhagavata Vidhi principles is called Raga Marga. The principles of Raga Marga are in great detail about the difference between different vidhis or different means of devotional service, different ways of devotional service. Srila Prabhupada starts by explaining why Krishna is compared to dark clouds, because after the scorching heat of the summer season, it's very pleasing to see the dark clouds in the sky. Later on in the purport also, Srila Prabhupada will explain in more detail how Krishna is compared to the dark clouds and why is he compared to that. He's also how, of course, because his complexion is like a blackish cloud, as it said, Asitam Buddha Sundarangam. His anga is very beautiful, Sundara, like a Asita Ambuda. Ambuda means fresh rain cloud. Just when the rains have just fallen or about to fall, the clouds are full of rain. That's when the dark bluish complexion is what Krishna is compared to. Also because every one of us is suffering in this material world with the scorching heat of sun. And then when the rains come, then it relieves us. Similarly, we are all suffering with the scorching heat of this material existence. And when we take shelter of Krishna, who is like the blackish cloud, then all of our miseries dissipate in his absorption. So we'll talk about that later when Srila Prabhupada explains this in the purport. But here Lord Shiva is trying to glorify and see in that glorification that most opulent form of Vishnu. And that's what he is saying. He has 4 arms and he has a beautifully raised nose. His eyes are like lotus petals. He has a smile which is so attractive, a beautiful forehead, decorated, beautiful ears. All of that is being explained. And he's explaining about Narayan. And Srila Prabhupada takes this opportunity to explain how Krishna is the source of Narayan. And Lord Narayan generally is worshipped by the Pancharatrika Vidhi. And Krishna, in the Vraja Krishna, who resides in Vrajadham, he is worshipable by the Bhagavata Vidhi. So this, we need to have some understanding from Nectar of Devotion, how Rupa Goswami explains about these different kinds of devotional services. And what is the correlation between Bhagavata Vidhi, Pancharatrika Vidhi? We hear about Sadhana Bhakti, we hear about Vaidhi Bhakti, we hear about Raganuga Bhakti, and then now this Pancharatrika Vidhi, Bhagavat Vidhi, what is Bhava Bhakti, what is Prema Bhakti? We are hearing so many terms. What is the correlation between all of this? Once we understand the correlation and how they are practically practiced, then this purport will become much more clearer. So Srila Rupa Goswami in his Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, he explains that there are 3 kinds of bhakti. There is sadhana bhakti, bhava bhakti, and prema bhakti. Sadhana bhakti is performed by devotees who are not pure yet, but have aspirations to become pure devotees of the Lord. And the sadhana bhakti, generally when we say the word sadhana, then typically in other yoga systems, sadhana means you perform your sadhana and then there is a sadhya, there is a goal that you're trying to achieve. Once you achieve that goal, you don't have to perform that sadhana anymore because you have achieved the goal. Just like we prepare for our examination, students prepare for examination and they work really hard, and it's like a sadhana. They have to be very disciplined. They have to wake up and start studying, have a schedule, set schedule, plan out what they're before and later and after, and then revise what they have studied, and then they go, and the goal is to pass and get high marks in an examination. But once the examination is complete, there is no need to go back and do the same scheduled uh, study anymore. But sadhana, that is what is the understanding of sadhana, of austerity. But sadhana bhakti is different because the means and the goals are the same. One time, a reporter asked Prabhupada, "You are chanting this Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, practically 24 hours a day. You chant in the temples, then you go out and you chant in the Sankirtan, then you again come back and you chant. What is the goal of chanting?" And Srila Prabhupada said, well, the goal of chanting is more chanting. Because in sadhana bhakti, devotees chant, and the goal is so that we can chant more with taste. And Prabhupada explained it's something like raw, ripe mango. Both are mangoes. A raw mango is also mango, a ripe mango is also mango. But one is raw and the other is ripe, is much more sweet. Similarly, sadhana bhakti is also bhakti, and bhakti in the prema bhakti is also practically, it is the same activities. Activities that we perform in sadhana bhakti are probably the same activities that are performed in the prema bhakti. Prema bhakti stage is, sadhana bhakti is when devotees want to become pure. The bhava bhakti is when those who are jivan muktas, those who are in this material world but are liberated nonetheless, they perform bhava bhakti. And then the prema bhakti is performed by videha muktas, who are eternally liberated, have gone back home, back to Godhead, and they perform prema bhakti. But what they perform in the spiritual world, back home, back to Godhead, and what we perform in sadhana bhakti is practically, we cook for the Lord here in the kitchen, deity kitchen, Lord, for the pleasure of the Lord. There is, the activities are practically the same. We perform deity worship and we perform Jhulan Yatra, and there in the spiritual world they perform the same activities, but it's in a different level of consciousness. When sadhana bhakti matures, then it becomes into bhava bhakti, and then when bhava bhakti matures, it becomes prema bhakti. But the activities, the actual sadhana remains the same. And what is the sadhya is the same activities that we were performing during sadhana. But this sadhana bhakti is further classified into Vaidhi bhakti and Raganuga bhakti. And that's what we are coming to in this purport. Srila Prabhupada, he's saying Pancharatrika Vidhi and Bhagavata Vidhi. These are all parts of sadhana bhakti. And this sadhana bhakti, Pancharatrika Vidhi, is performed during Vaidhi bhakti, which means Vaidhi means rules and regulations. Vidhi means rules and regulations. Vaidhi bhakti means bhakti performed with rules and regulations. And then Raganuga bhakti is what is called as the Bhagavata bhakti, where it's the same sadhana bhakti, but it's performed out of ruchi, out of spontaneous attraction. So in sadhana bhakti, there are two, Vaidhi bhakti, Raganuga bhakti. You can also call them as Pancharatrika Vidhi and Bhagavata Vidhi. But in the Pancharatrika Vidhi, in the Vaidhi bhakti, it's the performer of this bhakti performs bhakti out of fear of scriptural injunctions. It follows scriptural injunctions, and they follow based on the faith that if I do not follow the scriptural injunctions, I will just be in a miserable state of affairs. But in Raganuga Bhakti or Bhagavata Vidhi, Devotees perform bhakti out of spontaneous love, out of greed, spiritual greed, after out of lolyam or spiritual greed to serve Krishna. In Vaidhi Bhakti as well as Raganuga Bhakti, they perform the same activities. A devotee performing Vaidhi Bhakti or performing Bhava Bhakti, they will all wake up for Mangalarti. They will follow the rules and regulations. But one is following out of fear that, oh, if I don't wake up and if I don't chant, go for Mangalarti, I'll go in Maya. I won't be, my anarthas will overpower me. If I chant 16 rounds, follow regular principle, associate with devotees, and go for Mangalarti and do my sadhana very nicely, then my anarthas of my lust, anger, pride, greed, kama, krodh, lobh, moh, matsarya, this will be a little bit subsided. I will not be forced to act upon these anarthas within my heart. It keeps it within a level. But then person with Raganuga Bhakti, he also gets up for Mangalarti, but he is like waiting. When will I get up for Mangalarti? When can I have the darshan of the Lord? Sometimes he's not able to sleep out of greed, that when will it be 4:30 that I can go and have darshan of the Lord? When will the temple open? Whereas in Vaidhi Bhakti, it'll be all right. I have to now wake up and go, and I guess let me just do that, because if I don't, then I'll get into Maya. I won't be able to practice properly. My consciousness will go down. So and I will be wasting this human form of life, and all of these arguments that we give to our mind, and then we just wake up. Okay, I would have rather slept. It's such a cozy bed, and it's so outside, but I just have to do it. I have to please my guru. I must. The scriptures say that if you attend Mangalarti, you'll be all auspicious. So I must just do it. So in sadhana bhakti, they have not yet developed that spontaneous attraction to the Lord, but they're doing it as an austerity. Whereas with Raganuga Bhakti, it's no longer an austerity. Following the principles is no longer an austerity. So one is out of fear and the other is out of spontaneous attraction. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, he explains that there are 9 stages of devotional service. Adav Shraddha, Tatha Sadhu Sangha, Tatha Anartha, Tatha Bhajana Kriya, Tatha Anartha Nivritti, Tatha Nishtha, Ruchis Tatha, Asakti, Bhava, Prema. These are the 9 stages of devotional service. When a devotee starts performing devotional service, that devotee passes through these 9 stages. Starting with Shraddha, Adav Shraddha. It starts with Shraddha when there is some faith where we can give a benefit of doubt to the devotees. Maybe we see devotees chanting and dancing in the street, like, wow, that's good. This is interesting. I like it. They're so happy. And let me see what they're doing. And then you go, you buy a book, or you associate with, slowly you start associating with devotees. That is the next stage. Adav Shraddha Tatha Sadhu Sangha. Or some devotees just get a book, they read a book, and then their Shraddha is awakened, and then they want to now associate with people who are reading the books like that devotee. That is Adav Shraddha Tatha Sadhu Sangha. Then when the devotee performs Sadhu Sangha, then they understand how to actually perform Bhajana Kriya. We go to the temple, and the first time that we came to the temple, just remember the time, that first time when you came to the temple, what was your experience? We entered the temple, we saw several devotees there, and devotee is paying obeisances. They just fall on the ground. And it was, many of us would have been surprised. I was surprised. Whoa, why are they falling on the ground? And then I suddenly saw, oh, they are offering prayers on the ground. Then they get up and with devotion they are praying to the deity, and so we started following the same thing. And then we see devotees around, and we see how they are interacting, and how they're they are greeting each other with Hare Krishna, and so enthusiastically hugging each other. And then we learn, oh, whoa, this is bhajana kriya. And then we see some devotees are performing arti, and for the longest time, our focus is on like, whoa, how beautifully this devotee is performing the arti to the Lord, and look what items is he offering. And just by associating with devotees in this mood of learning, we learn how to perform bhajana kriya. So sadhu sangha leads to bhajana kriya, and after bhajana kriya, while performing bhajana kriya, all the anarthas, the unwanted things within our heart, are destroyed. That's when we come to the anartha nivritti stage, which is probably the longest stage. And depending on our eagerness and our sincerity and our helpless dependence on the Lord and our prayers, intense prayers, this anartha nivritti can be a moment, or this anartha nivritti could be for lifetime after lifetimes. But when we get through anartha nivritti, then nishtha, firm faith develops. Shraddha, which is preliminary faith, then blossoms into nishtha, which is firm faith. And when we have firm faith in the Lord, then nothing can deter us from this path of service. Oh, scriptures say Krishna is supreme, and so many arguments are given in the scriptures, and this devotee says and that devotee says. But when nishtha, we have firm faith, yes, Krishna is the supreme personality of Godhead. It becomes as clear, like, yeah, this is my kurta, this is the kurta that I'm wearing, this is color blue. It becomes very, very clear, and doesn't have to be proved again and again to ourselves. That's nishtha. There is a verse where it says, Shraddha Shabde Vishwasa Kohe Sudrira Nishchay Krishna Bhakti Koile Sarva Karma Krita Hoy. That Nishtha comes at a stage where we understand that by performing devotional service to Krishna, all other activities will be fulfilled, which means we don't have to bother about it. That is real positive thinking. People say, hey, think positive. Why are you thinking negative? You should not think that thinking negative means you are looking at how things can go bad. Look at things, how things can go good, and focus on that positive. But that positivity is something like an ostrich, where you are completely ignoring your mind, you're burying your head like an ostrich into the ground, hoping that the hunter will not see you. So similarly, some people they cannot just ignore the negative. And but real positive thinking means whatever happens, whether good or bad, I will be fine by Krishna's mercy, because I'm performing devotional service. I have faith, whether things happen good or it happens bad, whether the result of a particular activity is good or bad, whether I become famous or I'm drowned in infamy, whether people think good about me, whether people think worse about me, I will be fine, because by Krishna's mercy, because I'm performing devotional service. As long as I'm performing devotional service, following the principles, um, associating with devotees, Krishna is taking care of me. And then that kind of positivity is not dependent on a positive or a negative outcome. Irrespective of the outcome, we have the nishtha, we have the faith. Shraddha Shabde Vishwas Kohe, this Vishwas, Sudrida Nishchay, very firm faith. What kind of faith? What kind of firm faith? Krishna Bhakti Koile Sarva Karma Krita Hoy. Which means by performing Krishna Bhakti, all my activities will be good. So that is the stage of nishtha. Then from there, when a devotee continues performing devotional service at this platform of nishtha, then they come to ruchi, where there is a spontaneous attraction to the Lord that develops. And then from ruchi develops asakti, or attachment to the Lord. Then we become really, really attached. And when we fear separation from the Lord. And then when that matures, it becomes bhava, which is emotional love of God, and then prema, which is pure love. And then even in prema, there are many categories, many stages, which are explained by Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur in Madhurya Kadambini. But coming back to our topic, how is all of these 9 stages of bhakti relate to what we are discussing about Vaidhi Bhakti and Raganuga Bhakti? Is because there are 2 components, Shraddha and Ruchi. That we said, Shraddha is the initial faith, Ruchi is spontaneous attraction, which comes after Nishtha. In Vaidhi Bhakti, Shraddha is the primary component, that you have faith in the scriptures. It's out of scriptural faith in the scriptural injunctions and out of fear of material existence. But there is a secondary component of ruchi. There is some attraction, spontaneous attraction. But primarily it's Shraddha. Whereas in Raganuga Bhakti, primarily the attraction is ruchi. The primary component is ruchi. Primarily we are performing devotional service not because it says in the Vedas. We are performing because I'm attracted spontaneously to Krishna. I can't stop myself. And secondary component is Shraddha, faith in scriptures. So in both cases, there is faith in scriptures, there is ruchi, but the primary and secondary components are different. Yeah. For example, we can say Raganuga Bhakti, you can say, for example, Shukadev Goswami was, as soon as he came out of the womb of his mother, he was already 16 years old. He just left and he went out. And when he was going in the fields, he heard some of the farmers and some of the ladies singing the glories of Aho Bakiyam Stanakalakutam, which means this was the verse which actually explained how Lord Krishna is so merciful that he gave the position of nurse to Putana, who had come to kill him. This was the description that was given. And just when he heard this beautiful verse about Aho Bakiyam Stanakala Kutam, the whole verse he was just completely encapsulated. Wow. Aho Bakiyam Stanakala Kutam Jigham Sayapaya Yadapya Sadhavi Lebhe Gatim Dhatyuchutam Tatonyam Kam va dayalum sharanam vrajema. Alas, how shall I take shelter of one more merciful than he who granted the position of mother to a she-demon, to Putana? Although she was unfaithful and she prepared deadly poison to be sucked from her breast. This is an example of extreme mercy of the Lord, even to the enemy of the Lord. And as soon as Shukadev Goswami, just coming out of the womb, heard these beautiful prayers, he became spontaneously attracted to Lord Krishna. Who is this person? He became spontaneously attracted. This is on the level of Raganuga Bhakti. Of course, we can also say that Shukadev Goswami is an eternally liberated soul, but he performed this pastime at the platform of Raganuga Bhakti. Or even four Kumaras. We see the four Kumaras as they were approaching the Vaikuntha planets. They smelt the tulsi leaves, that were the smell of the tulsi leaves that were coming from the lotus feet of the Lord. And just that smell of the tulsi, they didn't even see the Lord yet, they didn't have his darshan yet, but just the smell of the tulsi leaves coming from the lotus feet of the Lord as the Lord was approaching them. They were standing outside the gates. They didn't even know that the Lord is approaching, but just that smell spontaneously attracted them. Even Rukmini. Of course, Rukmini is on the platform of Bhava Bhakti, Prema Bhakti, but still, she was spontaneously attracted. She heard in the court of her father, Bhishmaka. She would hear all these great sages, Narad Muni, Vyasadeva, everyone coming and glorifying Lord Krishna. And just by hearing the glorification of Lord Krishna, she fell in love with him. And she just felt that uh, I have to write a love letter to Krishna. I want to meet him. I want to marry him. But anyway, these are examples of spontaneous attraction to the Lord. And that is the basic difference between Pancharatrika Vidhi of deity worship and all of that, and Bhagavata Vidhi. Because when the heart is clean and pure and lust and anger and pride, greed, envy, illusion, then when we hear the pastimes of the Lord, we are spontaneously attracted. That's the level. But Srila Prabhupada would say Pancharatrika Vidhi and Bhagavata Vidhi are two tracks of the train. We have to perform both of them simultaneously. In some cases, Srila Prabhupada says, like there are 9 processes of devotional service, which is Smaranam, Padasevanam, Archanam, Vandanam, Dasyam, Sakhyam, Atmanivedanam. So Shravanam, Kirtanam, and Smaranam are part of Bhagavata Vidhi, where a devotee is so spontaneously attracted to the Lord that he doesn't need to engage any of his other senses other than simply hearing and chanting about the Lord. Shravanam, Kirtanam, Smaranam. Whereas Pancharatrika Vidhi is all the others: Padasevanam, Archanam, Vandanam, Dasyam, Sakhyam, Atmanivedanam, all of that, of course. But of course, especially Padasevanam, Archanam, Vandanam, Srila Prabhupada writes in one purport is that these are Pancharatrika Vidhi. And we have to perform both. As Srila Prabhupada says, uh, Radha Krishna cannot be approached by neophyte devotees. Therefore, temple worship according to regulative principles is offered to Lakshmi Narayan. So Srila Prabhupada said, actually, the temple, ISKCON temple worship that we offer based on the Vedic scriptures, based on the rules and regulations, it is actually Lakshmi Narayan worship. Because Radha Krishna are not dressed opulently. Radha Krishna are dressed very simply. Actually, if you want to worship them, then they should be dressed in cowherd boy and cowherd girl dress, very simple, and like a pagri and just a dhoti, and he just goes around. But here they are worshipped with opulence as Lakshmi Narayan, and that's how we are supposed to worship. Because Prabhupada says in Radha Krishna, Lakshmi Narayan is included. But we are actually not at that platform of serving Radha Krishna. So we move forward. The inhabitants of Vrindavan, the gopis, the cowherd boys, the cows, and everyone else are actually on the Raga Marga or Bhagavata Marga platform. They participate in 5 basic rasas: Dasya, Sakhya, Vatsalya, Madhurya, and Shanta. But although these 5 rasas are found in the Bhagavat Marga, the Bhagavat Marga is especially meant for Vatsalya and Madhurya, or parental and conjugal relationships. Yet there is Vipralamba Sakhya, the higher fraternal worship of the Lord, especially enjoyed by the cowherd boys. Although there is friendship between Krishna and the cowherd boys, this friendship is different from the Aishwarya friendship between Krishna and Arjuna. When Arjuna saw the Vishvarupa, the gigantic universal form of the Lord, he was afraid for having treated Krishna as an ordinary friend. Therefore, he begged Krishna's pardon. However, the cowherd boys who are friends of Krishna in the Vrindavan sometimes ride on the shoulders of Krishna. They treat Krishna equally, just as they treat one another, and they are never afraid of him, nor do they ever beg his pardon. Thus, in this Raga Marga or Bhagavata Marga, friendship exists on a higher platform with Krishna, namely the platform of Vishrambha friendship. Parental friendship, parental service, and conjugal service are visible in the Vrindavan Raga Marga relationships. So here it is explained about the different rasas: Dasya ras, Sakhya ras, Vatsalya ras, Madhurya ras, Shanta ras. There are devotees, like for Shanta ras, there are the rivers and grass of Vrindavan, or the flute of Krishna. He's in Shanta ras. Dasya ras, the best example is of Lord Hanuman, how he's such a wonderful servitor of the Lord. Sakhya ras, examples is given of Arjuna and the cowherd boyfriends of Krishna. And Vatsalya ras is in the parental love, like Yashoda, Nanda Maharaj. And Madhurya ras is the Swakiya Madhurya and there is Parakiya Madhurya. Swakiya Madhurya is the wives of Krishna, Rukmini, Satyabhama, and the Parakiya Madhurya ras is with Radharani and the gopis. So these are all the different kinds of examples of these different rasas that are found. There are so many other rasas. There is Virya ras, there is Hasya ras, bravery, which Krishna enjoyed the Virya ras with Bhishma Dev while fighting Bhishma Dev. So there are so many rasas, but these are 5 primary rasas. And here it explains how we have to, there is a Vipralamba Sakhya, which is a higher fraternal friendship. And how in Vaikuntha planets you can have Dasyaras and Shantaras, but Sakhya, Madhurya, and Vatsalya you can find only in Vrindavan. Because imagine now, this does not mean that these are different levels, like Shantaras is lower than Dasyaras. That does not mean that Dasyaras is lower than Sakhya or Madhurya. It is not lower or higher, because the devotees in each of these rasas are completely satisfied, completely fulfilled in relationship with Krishna, and they don't want to change. It's not like Hanuman in the Dasyaras is saying, okay, one day I will graduate to the Sakhyaras and become a friend of Lord Ram. It's like, but each of these rasas, they are not competent to each other, but they are more intimate than the other. So, for example, Sakhyaras is more intimate than Dasyaras. Krishna is more free in that sense to intimate with Sakhyaras than with Dasyaras, which is an awe and reverence. Madhurya ras is more intimate than Vatsalya or Dasyaras or Sakhyaras. But to Krishna, it doesn't matter. To Krishna, he is equally enjoying, and the devotees are themselves completely fulfilled. So this is something which we should also try to understand. Going forward, without serving Krishna according to Marga, regulative principles of the Pancharatriki Vidhi, unscrupulous persons want to jump immediately to the Raga Marga principles. Such persons are called Sahajiya. There are also demons who enjoy depicting Krishna and his pastimes with the gopis, taking advantage of Krishna by their licentious the Raga Marga principles, are surely on the way to hell. Unfortunately, they lead others down with them. Devotees in Krishna consciousness should be very careful to avoid such demons. One should strictly follow the Vidhi Marga regulative principles in the worship of Lakshmi Narayan. Although the Lord is present in the temple as Radha Krishna, therefore, when one worships the Lord according to the regulative principles, the Lord accepts the service and the role of Lakshmi Narayan. In the Nectar of Devotion, full instructions are given about the Vidhi Marga worship of Radha Krishna or Lakshmi Narayan. Although there are 64 kinds of offenses one can commit in Vidhi Marga worship, in Raga Marga worship, there is no consideration of such offenses because the devotees on that platform are very highly elevated. There is no question of offense. But if we do not follow the regulative principles on the Vidhi Marga platform and keep our eyes trained to spot offenses, we will not make progress. Here, Srila Prabhupada warns us that although there is Pancharatrika Vidhi and Bhagavata Vidhi, there is the Vaidhi Bhakti and Raganuga Bhakti, but people who are, if you immediately jump to the Raga Marga principles, saying, oh yeah, I'm doing Raganuga Bhakti, you don't need to follow all these rules and regulations, then we become Sahajiya. Because Sahaj means cheap, taking it simply, taking it cheaply. Sahajiya means taking devotional service cheaply and assuming that I am actually at a Bhagavad Marga principle level. I don't really need to do all this, Vaidhi Bhakti, following the principles and things like that. And then we fall down. We start thinking, Krishna enjoys with the gopis. Let me absorb myself in the pastime of Krishna by enjoying with other gopis, with other women. And then this happens many times in Vrindavan. Srila Prabhupada would say, many of these Sahajiyas, they dress as Krishna, and then they dress other women as gopis, and they say, this is Raganuga Bhakti, and let us absorb ourselves in the pastimes of Krishna. And in that mood, now they start breaking all regulative principles. That is to be avoided. And even though our acharyas are at that level, in order to teach us, they do not perform bhakti at that, they do not display bhakti at that level. They don't even display the spiritual emotions that come forward. They try to hide it. Because if acharyas on that level, when they are preaching, they show these emotions, spiritual emotions and of ecstasies that they are feeling, the ashta bhava that they are feeling, other unscrupulous people will just imitate the symptoms of the ecstasy. Like, the symptoms are explained, that the eyes, the incessant tears coming out, the hair stands on end, and the person just jumps and dances. There are so many, the body starts shaking. And Lord Chaitanya, during his kirtans, the nocturnal kirtans at the house of Srivas Thakur, he would display all these ecstatic symptoms. But any of our acharyas in public, including Lord Chaitanya, they would not want to display. They would actually want to hide it. One time, Srila Prabhupada was giving a Bhagavatam class in Vrindavan. And as he was giving Bhagavatam class, all the devotees were listening to it. And then one person entered the temple, and this person came to take darshan of the deity, and he just turned around to Srila Prabhupada, who was giving Bhagavatam class, and he started shaking and falling down and then getting up, and then he started as if he was having ecstatic symptoms. Srila Prabhupada looked at him for a while, and then continued giving class. And this person fell unconscious, or kind of showed that he was unconscious, and Srila Prabhupada did not even give any heed to him. And then this person got up and left. And Srila Prabhupada continued giving his Bhagavatam class. Later, Srila Prabhupada told to his devotees that this is how Sahajias behave. They want to exhibit, they want to enact, imitate the symptoms of love of God, just so people can think they are at that high level of devotional service, and then either they want respect or they want to mislead people. So many things. This they are doing only out of their anarthas, to satisfy their anarthas. And that's why the acharyas are very, very careful that they don't display these emotions in public. One time, Srila Prabhupada said he was looking outside in Mayapur. There was GBC, big GBCs were giving presentations, and Srila Prabhupada in Mayapur, he was looking outside in the field. And right in the middle of the presentation, Srila Prabhupada got up and then he said, "Can't you see? Can't you see?" And all the GBCs were looking at each other. What, Srila Prabhupada? And Srila Prabhupada was pointing in the middle of the field. You see? And all the devotees were like, whoa, maybe Prabhupada is looking at Lord Chaitanya. Maybe Srila Prabhupada is seeking and looking at Lord Chaitanya passing by. And Srila Prabhupada immediately went down and started walking towards the field. And all the GBC and devotees started following Srila Prabhupada. And Srila Prabhupada was in the middle of the field, and he closed a tap. And he said, "Can't you see that the water is being wasted? This is Krishna's energy. You should conserve Krishna's energy." And all the devotees were shocked and surprised. Oh. So Srila Prabhupada was very, very practical in his demonstration of Krishna consciousness. Even though he was at the platform, many times he told in Vrindavan about Krishna Balaram and about the pastimes and about Lord Chaitanya, but he was very practical in how we should see devotional service. He warned many devotees that when you go to Vrindavan and to some of these holy dhams, you will find some sahajiyas who will tell you, well, you are at a very low stage, Vaidhi Bhakti, you're doing just Vaidhi Bhakti. You should come to Raghanuga Bhakti, Bhava Bhakti platform. Unless you do that, you will not be successful. And I will teach you. Srila Prabhupada, there is a misconception that was prevalent for a long time that Srila Prabhupada, especially in the 1990s, that Srila Prabhupada has only given us basic Krishna consciousness. If we want to advance more, we need to take shelter of these other acharyas and other people. They were in Vrindavan, they were saying, you come to me, I will give you initiation, Siddha Pranali. And in this Siddha Pranali Diksha, I will initiate you and I will tell you in your ear what your eternal relationship with Krishna is. And then that person would tell during the initiation, in the spiritual world, your Siddha Deha, eternal relationship with Krishna, is of a peacock. And then that devotee would just go around dancing like a peacock. Oh, I'm a peacock, I'm a peacock. Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, Srila Prabhupada said, this is bogus. Yes, we do have a Siddha Deha. Every soul has an eternal relationship with Krishna, but it is revealed by the spiritual master. If we serve the spiritual master in the mood, even if we perform Vaidhi Bhakti in the mood of Raganuga Bhakti, then, and we come to the stage of Nishtha, Ruchi, all of that, spontaneously, the spiritual master and Krishna reveals from within our heart what our eternal relationship is. Srila Prabhupada said, you want to participate in Rasa Leela? Book distribution is Rasa Leela. And all devotees were like, Prabhupada, how can you say book distribution is Rasalila? He said, yes. What is the mood of Rasalila? The mood of Rasalila is each gopi is encouraging another gopi to go towards Krishna. And what do we do in book distribution? Our mood is that whatever ecstasies, whatever Krishna consciousness we have gotten, we want to bring people to Krishna. We are pushing people towards Krishna. So you do book distribution in the proper mood, you will enter into the Ras Leela. That was Srila Prabhupada's realization. So Srila Prabhupada has given us everything in his books, right from Shraddha all the way to Bhava and Prema. And his books, his movement, his devotees can actually take us to that level. Because when we perform the rules and regulations, Vaidhi Bhakti in ISKCON, what is our purpose? Generally, people who perform Pancharatrika Vidhi, their purpose is so that they can get some material desire fulfilled. That's generally the purpose of Pancharatrika Vidhi. But when we do Vaidhi Bhakti, we perform the same Vidhi for Bhakti, then our purpose is actually to attain spontaneous love of God. We should always remember, be mindful of this fact. Why am I serving? Why am I performing devotional service? Why am I serving the deity? That should be very clear. To please the Lord, not to get any personal benediction out of it. And if we have that purpose in mind, we are going towards the platform of Bhava Bhakti, and slowly we'll perform Raganuga Bhakti. But that's why, even though we are performing Pancharatrika Vidhi, it is still Bhagavata Vidhi, it is still Raganuga Bhakti, because our purpose is spontaneous attraction. Our purpose is not personal aggrandizement or personal gratification. And as long as it's there, like one devotee said, Srila Prabhupada, I'm not feeling enthusiastic in Krishna consciousness. I'm not feeling enthusiastic. I see devotees chanting and dancing enthusiastically. I don't feel enthusiasm in chanting and dancing. Srila Prabhupada said, if you don't feel enthusiastic, do you want to continue in Krishna consciousness? He said, yes. Then act enthusiastic. Which means we act on that platform, not in the mood of showing it to others. Then it becomes sahajya. There's a very subtle difference. If we are not feeling enthusiastic, instead of saying, oh, I'm not feeling enthusiastic, I guess I will not do any devotional service today. No, that's Maya. If we are not feeling enthusiastic, we still do it, but with a mood of prayer. Krishna, I want to please you. But the reality is, I'm not feeling enthusiastic. I'm not feeling any eagerness to serve you. But I want that eagerness. So I will act on that platform. I will act as if I'm enthusiastic, just as a prayer to you to please give me real enthusiasm. Now, when we act enthusiastic with this consciousness, as a prayer, as an expression of prayer to Krishna to give us real enthusiasm, then we will get real enthusiasm. Then we'll get into the Raganuga Bhakti. But if we are acting enthusiastic just to show others, so others can say, oh, you're so great and you're so enthusiastic all the time, then that is sahajya. Then we are taking it cheaply. Just for some cheap praise, we are acting out. But act we must to go to that level. But in what consciousness is very important. When we chant and our mind is not feeling enthusiastic to chant, we cry out to Krishna. Krishna, I do not deserve to chant. I have no qualification, but I beg you, I am helplessly depending on you. Please grant me the taste for chanting. I'm not feeling the taste, yet I'm chanting. Please give me the taste. Then Krishna will give the real taste. So these things are very important to understand about how Srila Prabhupada has given us everything in this movement. Going forward, in his description of Krishna's beauty, Lord Shiva uses the word Charvayata Chaturbahu Sujata Ruchirananam, indicating the beautiful four-armed form of Narayan or Vishnu. Those who worship Lord Krishna describe him as Sujata Ruchirananam. In the Vishnu Tattva, there are hundreds and thousands and millions of forms of the Supreme Lord. But of all these forms, the form of Krishna is the most beautiful. Thus, for those who worship Krishna, the word Sujata Ruchirananam is used. The four arms of Lord Vishnu have different purposes. The hands holding a lotus flower and conch shell are meant for the devotees, whereas the other two hands holding a disc and a mace or club are meant for the demons. Actually, all of the Lord's arms are auspicious, whether they are holding conch shells and flowers or clubs and discs. The demons killed by Lord Vishnu's chakra disc and club are elevated to the spiritual world, just like the devotees who are protected by the hands holding the lotus flower and conch shell. However, the demons who are elevated to the spiritual world are situated in the impersonal Brahman effulgence, whereas the devotees are allowed to enter into the Vaikuntha planets. Those who are devotees of Lord Krishna are immediately elevated to the Goloka Vrindavan planet. Here we can meditate on the pastimes of the Lord. Lotus flower, just like with a lotus flower, Gajendra offered the lotus flower and the Lord came for his protection. Also, lotus flower also means that he elevates the devotees above the material world, just like a lotus grows in filthy places, but it's above all of the filth. The conch shell, we can remember Dhruva Maharaj. When Dhruva Maharaj had the darshan of Lord Vishnu just placed the conch shell on the head of Dhruva Maharaj, and suddenly Dhruva Maharaj started praying and glorifying with such choicest words and prayers. Sthanabhilashita tapasi sthitoham tvam prapta deva munindra guhyam kacham vichanvanam api divya ratnam swamin kritarthosmi varam nayache. O Lord, I was looking for broken pieces of glass. I had come here desiring a position and respect. But you, my Lord, after I had your darshan, I'm completely satisfied. Swamin kritarthosmi, and I've become grateful to you for giving me this darshan. Varam nayache, I don't need any other benediction. And this 5-year-old boy praying just because of the touch of that conch shell on the head of Dhruva Maharaj. So moving forward, the Lord's beauty is compared to rainfall. When the rain falls in the rainy season, it becomes more and more pleasing to the people. After the scorching heat of the summer season, the people enjoy the rainy season very much. Indeed, they even come out of their doors in the villages and enjoy the rainfall directly. Thus, the Lord's bodily features are compared to the clouds of the rainy season. The devotees enjoy the Lord's beauty because it is a collection of all kinds of beauties. Therefore, the word Sarva Saundarya Sangraham is used. No one can say that the body of the Lord is wanting in beautiful parts. It is completely Purnam. Everything is complete. God's creation, God's beauty, and God's bodily features. All these are so complete that all one's desires can become fully satisfied when one sees the beauty of the Lord. The word Sarva Saundarya indicates that there are different types of beauties in the material and spiritual worlds, and the Lord contains all of them. Both materialists and spiritualists can enjoy the beauty of the Lord. Because the Supreme Lord attracts everyone, including demons and devotees, materialists and spiritualists, he is called Krishna. Similarly, his devotees also attract everyone. As mentioned in Sad Goswami Stotra, Dhira Dhira Jana Priya Priya Karo. The Goswamis are equally dear to the Dhira devotees and Adhira demons. Lord Krishna was not very pleasing to the demons when he was present in Vrindavan, but the 6 Goswamis were pleasing to the demons when they were present in Vrindavan. That is the beauty of the Lord's dealings with his devotees. Sometimes the Lord gives more credit to his devotees than he takes for himself. For instance, on the battlefield of Kurukshetra, Lord Krishna fought simply by giving directions. Yet it was Arjuna who took the credit for fighting. Nimitta matram bhave savisachin. You, O Savyasachi, Arjuna, can be but an instrument in the fight. Bhagavad Gita 11.33. Everything was arranged by the Lord, but the credit of the victory was given to Arjuna. Similarly, in the Krishna consciousness movement, everything is happening according to the predictions of Lord Chaitanya, but the credit goes to Lord Chaitanya's sincere servants. Thus, the Lord is described herein as Sarva Saundarya Sangraham. So, this is Lord Chaitanya's movement. And the more we are absorbed in the pastimes of the Lord, pastimes of Krishna, pastimes of Lord Ram, pastimes of Lord Chaitanya, the more we will be used as his instrument. Because it is predicted that this movement is going to expand to every town and village. The question is, do we want to be a part of this? If we become a part of this movement, then Lord Chaitanya will give us the credit. If we don't allow ourselves to become instruments of the Lord, then Lord Chaitanya will use others who are allowing them to be his instruments, and they will get the credit. But anyway, all credit every time always goes to Krishna, goes to Lord Chaitanya. We are nothing but the instruments. When a surgeon performs a surgery and the surgery is successful, who do we glorify? We don't glorify the scissors and the knives that were used by the surgeon. All credit goes to the surgeon. Yes, the knives and the scissors, they have to be sharpened. And if they are sharpened, then the surgeon can use it as an instrument to perform the surgery. So our goal is to keep our consciousness sharpened by performing Vaidhi Bhakti, Sadhana Bhakti very nicely, so that we can become able instruments. Krishna and Lord Chaitanya can use us, Guru can use us as instruments in spreading their movements. And that is the purpose of Lord Chaitanya's movement. In Chaitanya Charitamrita Adi Leela, 4th canto, it says, Prema rasa niryasa karite asvadana ragamarga bhakti loke karite pracharana rasika shekhara Krishna parama karune ei dui hetu hoite ichhara udgama. The Lord's desire to appear was born from two reasons. He wanted to taste the sweet essence of the mellows of love of God, and he wanted to propagate devotional service in the world on the platform of spontaneous attraction. Thus, he is known as supremely jubilant and as the most merciful of all. So, here it explains the Lord's desire is Ragamarga Bhakti Loke Korite Pracharana, is to propagate Ragamarga Bhakti. This Ragamarga is essential for Lord Chaitanya's movement. That is his purpose, it says. But what is that Ragamarga Bhakti? That is something if we try to develop spontaneous attraction towards the Lord with the primary component as Ruchi. So with this, we will end our class today. And if there are any questions or comments, we can take now. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Thank you so much, Prabhuji, for such an instructive, and thank you so much for a beautiful class, Prabhuji. Now I will request devotees if they have any question or comment. So Prabhuji, they can ask now. Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam. Thank you for the very practical and beautiful class. Prabhuji, my question: how do from our side, what do we do getting into Prabhupada's movement to be the instrument for bringing Krishna consciousness from our side? What qualities do we need to be a real part of this project? Thank you, Hare Krishna.
Well, thank you, Mataji, for that question. Sadhana, seva, prachar. These are the three things that we need to perform in order to be good instruments of Srila Prabhupada. Even Lord Chaitanya said, he emphasized these three principles: Namaruchi, Vaishnav Seva, Jivadaya. This is the essence of Krishna consciousness. Namaruchi meaning develop taste for chanting the holy names, do our sadhana properly. Once we do that, then we will be able to serve the devotees without offenses. So Vaishnav Seva is important, and not just serve devotees, but also serve non-devotees. How do we serve non-devotees? By Jivadaya, by preaching. So all these three have to be performed simultaneously, and they are dependent on each other. If our sadhana is not nice, then our Vaishnav Seva will be affected. We'll start committing offenses against the Vaishnavas because our consciousness is not clean. We did not purify our consciousness. If we don't chant our rounds properly, if we don't pray to Krishna, if we don't read Srimad Bhagavatam and Bhagavad Gita, then devotional service will become like a burden. If we don't read Srimad Bhagavatam, if we don't hear attentively, if we don't chant, then it will become, oh, now I have to go for deity worship. Okay, let me just do it and as a chore and come back. And then when we are serving devotees and we are serving prasadam to devotees, we start looking at all the faults. Oh, this devotee, wow, this devotee eats a lot. Oh, this is, and then look at this devotee, he has so many faults in him, and all of these things will start coming. So sadhana is important, Vaishnav Seva is important, and prachar. If we do not preach, actively seek out preaching opportunities, then our temples will just become grounds of politics and backbiting, because we don't have any higher purpose. We are just coming together to have a good time. That's not Krishna consciousness. That could be a part of Krishna consciousness. But if we are not preaching and having that higher principle in our mind, then it is very difficult to even maintain our sadhana. If we don't preach, because when we preach, we see new people getting interested in Krishna consciousness. That affects our faith in a completely different way. So it's needed, that experience is needed for us to remind us of our early days when we came to Krishna consciousness, how sincerely we were practicing. And as we go forward, there are so many distractions which come, but these experiences bring us back into the proper path. So preaching is important so we can perform our sadhana nicely. Sadhana is important so we can perform Vaishnav Seva and preaching nicely. Vaishnav Seva is important so we can remain humble and perform our sadhana and preaching nicely. So all sadhana, seva, prachar, namruchi, Vaishnav Seva, Jivadaya, if we can actively perform these things, then Krishna will use us as able instruments, especially if we perform it in the mood of humility, of giving all respects to others, expecting none in return, give all credits to others. We don't do this to get any credit, but we do this, and any result which comes out, we give it to other devotees. Then that will make us able instruments in the movement of Lord Chaitanya and Srila Prabhupada.
Thank you, Prabhupada. I have another extending question. Like, so when we do some good for others, being a very that's the start of my bhakti, automatic sense of happiness or pride, I'm not even sure, that comes over, it overwhelms, and I'm not sure whether I did this to get an appreciation or I did it as a seva. So that thought itself is very painful and very shameful. Rather. So how do we fight with that? Do we pray to Krishna for that, or what do we do, Prabhu?
Yeah, if we feel nice, or if someone says nice things about us, or if we feel nice doing someone's seva, then we experience that, but then we offer it to our guru, and then our guru offers it to his guru, and ultimately it goes to Krishna. So we say, well, this is all, I'm able to do this service because of the mercy of my guru. We immediately remember guru in this thing. We take the attention off from ourselves, because uh, if we, I mean, yeah, but it's not, what I'm saying is, it's not bad to feel good when you serve someone, if it encourages us to serve more. But that should not be the motive, that if I serve, I will feel good. If we do with that motive, then if one day we start feeling not so good, we'll stop serving. So if it's a byproduct, that's okay. But consciously, whenever we are feeling happy, we should always try to meditate that this is because of the mercy of Krishna. I deserve this, but this is because of mercy of my guru, and I offer it to my guru. Internally, we should always think like that. And if we are going through, if we are feeling bad, then also we should be grateful to Krishna, and meditate at that time on some pastime of the scriptures where someone felt bad, and take the focus is not to think low about ourselves, keep the focus on others, because you feel it is it selfish, but we have to perform selfless service. If you feel good, that's good. Don't try to negate that, don't try to feel bad, but just offer it to Guru and Krishna and participate in their happiness.
Okay, so thank you. I need to put this up. Thank you for that.
Thank you. Dandavad. Any other questions or comments?
Hare Krishna. If we don't have any question or comments for Prabhuji now, we can end the call.
Okay. Vancha kalpatarubhyascha kripasindhubhya cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavya. Jai. 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 Hare Krishna. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Prabhuji, Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhuji, Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhuji. Koti Koti Dandavad Pranam.
Dandavad Pranam.